or is it?
I have a live audience. What is up, SVSers? Welcome to the 95th edition of the SVS Audiophile Happy Hour. As always, we are super psyched to be here. Favorite time of the week for all of us to be joining and hanging out with our community here. And I'll go around and say hi to everyone. Larry, it looks like you're in another hotel room. Tell us where you're at and tell us how you're doing.
Yep, I am in the Denver market and I'm doing well. I'm out here hanging out with some of our retailers and visiting stores and doing some trainings.
Listen up, one of our fine retailers out in the Rocky Mountain State there. Say hello to them from all of us. And of course, we have Gary Yakubian, our president, just below me. Gary, how are you this evening?
You know, I'm looking at the comments here, and one guy wrote that I'm here for the giveaways. I'm like, that kind of hurts. It hurts a little bit. Can you? How about the entertainment? How about the information? Listen, it's great to be here. We haven't done enough of these, and so Nick and I committed to ourselves. We're going to get more on the books and try to really get to that by every other week rhythm, because it's the highlight of my week to interact with you guys. So definitely looking forward to the next hour.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Barbados, San Diego, Utah, somebody from Denver in your backyard there, Larry, as well. So we got
in Australia,
in Australia, all over the map and all over the globe. So
I see people from my hometown sometimes too, which is cool.
Oh, and that brings us to you, Ed. Ed, how are you this evening in upstate New York?
I'm doing just fine, and looking forward to the next hour as well.
Well, we know you're going to be sharing some knowledge, and I have to say thank you. We did a little solicitation for lightning round questions in our email to promote the happy hour, and you guys came through. There was a lot that came in, so thank you to everyone who submitted their questions. We'll get to as many of them as possible, as well as some of the questions posted on the live stream.
Lots of knowledge drop. Saw a lot of them.
Absolutely. We do have to go through some a little housekeeping here, of course. We have giveaways this evening, and Larry, I'm going to put you on the spot to tell you about the giveaways, and then we'll tell you about how to win.
I mean, one person's here only for the giveaways, so we better tell him what he could win.
That just means we got to convert them. By the end of it, they're going to see value outside of winning something. So, Larry, what are we giving away this evening?
All right, so we got three, as you said. The first one we're going to give away is an SB1000 Pro subwoofer. So somebody's going to take one of those home, well, be shipped to them. Then the second prize is a pair of our Prime Wireless Pro powered bookshelf speakers. And then the final prize of the night is going to be a pair of the Ultra Evolution Nano bookshelves. So got some pretty awesome prizes for you guys tonight.
That's right. And rules for the giveaways, very simple. If you leave a comment, you're eligible. One comment gets you one entry. A million comments does not get you a million entries. But again, we encourage you to converse with the fellow SVSers out there if you'd like to within the comment stream. But we will announce the winners live on the air. And then our colleague Vince will reach out behind the scenes, get your shipping information. We'll get those out. So we'll do those usually about 20 minutes, 40 minutes, and right at the end of the broadcast for the grand prize giveaway of the Ultra Evolution Nanos. So it's been a little bit of a while since we've had one of our happy hours, but we have been doing some events recently. And Gary, I guess we should start with an event that you just got back from, which is more of a trade event, but something that's really important, I think, to the audiovisual community, as well as custom integrators, folks who install home theaters. And so why don't you talk a little bit about where you just were, and then I'm going to pop a picture on screen here, and you can maybe give a little insight on that as well.
So we were at the ProSource Expo, which ProSource is the largest kind of home technology AV buying group in the country, in the U.S., I should say, since we have people from all over the world on this. And SVS is proudly part of that family of what they call authorized brands. I actually don't remember what there's a very limited circle of brands that they embrace and say these are the best speaker brands, the best receiver brands, the best TV brands, the best this, the best that, and it's really all the top home audio video brands are represented there. And we won Speaker of the Year, which is way more than a participation medal. This was a big deal. I was very proud of it. I posted it up on my Facebook, and so many of my friends from our industry were kind of commenting on it and just kind of marveling at the journey that SVS has had. So very proud of the team. That's Ken, who you know from the happy hours, and Monique, who I guess you probably know Monique as well. They were both with me in Nashville for this.
Well, we were very psyched to take home that award. I think it was maybe not a complete surprise, but just one of those things.
I was shocked. Yeah, I was totally shocked.
Right.
I mean, if you knew who we were up against, the large speaker brands that we were up against, to win that was really awesome.
Excellent. Well, congrats. And, I love the folks at ProSource. They do amazing work. And again, we're super proud of this. And I realized I just skipped over, it's been a while and maybe I'm a little rusty. We skipped right over our content recommendations. So we have some other events upcoming that I'd like to talk about. But let's start with what we've been tuning into recently, since I know that's a very popular topic for our crowd here. And Larry, I'm going to start with you. What have you been into recently?
Man, I've been watching a lot because I have not been home. So let's see. I saw Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die last week. Sam Rockwell flick, super fun. Scream 7. Saw Send Help last night. Enjoyed that. Been caught up on The Pit. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Finished Fallout on the flight out here the other day. War Machine. Holy crap, was that movie fun. Throwback to like 90s action films. Better Tomorrow, if you guys know that one, it's an old John Woo movie. They did a special 40th anniversary release last week, and I saw that when I was in San Francisco. And I sat through the worst movie I can remember in years, The Bride. I texted my wife about 5 minutes in. I said, I can already tell this is going to be the worst movie I've watched in a long time. And it was.
Well, I just sit through it.
I wanted to see what Christian Bale was going to do as Frankenstein.
I like him generally too.
I do too, but man, it was. I don't want to like bash on a movie, but yeah, it was bad.
What about the other Frankenstein movie?
I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, and I like Guillermo del Toro.
I heard it's pretty good.
I've seen it. It wasn't as much of an immersive experience as I would have liked. There was, it was dark and there were some quiet moments, not as fast paced, but I enjoyed the storyline very much. I thought it was, very well written.
And I'm excited for the Oscars on Sunday. I want to see Sinners clean up. And, I'm thinking about all the movies I just celebrated 10 years with the company. I was looking at I keep track of everything I watch. Been a lot of movies on the road.
Well, always good recommendations from you, Larry. And you're never going to hold back when you don't like something, which I think people can respect as well. All right, Ed, we'll move it to you. What have you been into? A lot of foul weather up there, so time to spend inside. What have you been into?
Well, it's tough to go after Larry. But Larry, I did watch Predator Badlands at your recommendation. It was very entertaining. I loved kind of the humor that they injected to it. It was more of a lighthearted version of the Predator movies. And I had a lot of fun watching it. Gary, I'm almost done with Fauda. I am in season 4. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not. Season 5 is actually being filmed now, and it picks up after.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
It picks up. It's sort of like, life follows fiction or whatever that phrase is, but it picks up after the Hamas invasion of Israel. And the lead actor in Fauda actually re-enlisted into the Israeli Defense Forces and served for a while, and then said, hey, why don't we shoot season 5 and pick up. So it's just kind of a cool tie-in, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I also watched the first episode of Cross on Amazon Prime. I thought that was very good, and I enjoyed last season as well. So looking forward to that.
Well, I will go, and I'll save you for last, Gary. I've just about finished Task, which actually came from, I think, some of you folks, as well as our community recommending that. I found that to be very entertaining, fast-moving, a little depressing at times, but a great flick if you're, into that kind of, sort of high thriller drama type genre. Also watched The Pit. That's a great show with my wife. It's not for the squeamish. There's definitely some medical gore in there. If you can't handle that, you won't love it, but moves super quick. It's just, as realistic, I think, a medical drama as you'll ever see. And just some of the storylines, some of the patients that they bring in there really sort of make you appreciate what the medical field has to deal with, especially in an emergency room setting. So it was a really
tough watch. Yeah.
I am looking forward to watching Predator Badlands, as well as the new Game of Thrones series that Larry recommended. And I will say, one of the engineers that we work with actually helped mix Predator Badlands, Matt Yoakum. I didn't tell you this, Larry, with his SB 5000 Revolution subwoofer, or 4000. He replaced it with the 5000. So little inside baseball there for you folks who are checking that out. Some of the scenes were actually mixed using an SVS subwoofer. And so, yeah, that's what I've really been excited about. And then I have an upcoming gig, my first ever music bingo DJing gig for my son's elementary school. So that's something I'm looking forward to as a personal level, engaging some people with music. And we'll be using Prime Wireless Pro as the playback system for music bingo at Hathaway School in Rhode Island. So there you go. It's spreading and taking over the world. Now, Gary, I know you've seen some live music, but what else have you been into that you can recommend?
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about the live music. I saw Nine Inch Nails. I love my heavy music, but I think I was telling some friends that I saw at ProSource that I think the best concert I've seen so far this year was Yo-Yo Ma. It was just so brilliant and beautiful. Just him alone on the stage playing the Bach cello suites, which to me is monumental music. So that was truly awesome. And I got to meet him. I met him 2 years ago when was it 2 years or last year when we sponsored him? Because Nick, you were there. I don't even remember now.
It was last year. Last year. Yep.
So I got to meet him last year, and he remembered me this year, which was just awesome. He threw his arms around me, and so it was really cool. And then we saw the concert afterwards. So that was a special night. As far as content, Larry, I don't understand the appeal of Sinners that much. I really don't. It's a good demo for sure. I've really come around to that demo you use. I do. But the whole thing of it turns into a horror movie, I don't get it. But Larry, you need to explain it to me. But I'm going to make my pitch. I think One Battle After Another is just absolutely phenomenal. It's a great demo. I watched it in streaming, and then I watched it again in 4K Blu-ray just because I loved it so much and I wanted to see what of their scenes are demo worthy, which there are several. So that's one that I loved and would recommend. I also saw the second season of Hijack, which is that thing with what is his name, Larry? The
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba on Apple TV. And I have to say, usually I can get past a really ridiculous premise and a ridiculous plot that could not possibly ever happen. But this one was so ridiculous and so convoluted that I couldn't get past how ridiculous it was. That said, it's pretty much nonstop, eight episodes of very exciting and very demo-worthy stuff. So I'm actually, even though it's complete nonsense, I'm going to recommend it. And then the other one is with great trepidation. I wasn't even going to watch it because I did not like House of Dragon. Is that what it's called? The game.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah. I'm like, this is just going to be another loser. And it looked like it was even a comedy. I'm like, wait, what? But I loved it. I agree with you, Larry. I thought that Night of the Seven Kingdoms was absolutely terrific. Everyone's going to love that. I don't know how good of a demo it is, but it's well worth watching. Really fun.
Well, you guys can have an angry text exchange on the Oscars based on Sinners or One Battle After Another.
Oh, no, Larry and I are definitely at odds here.
Yeah.
I think Sinners has the momentum right now, so we'll see what happens.
Well, they get a lot more nominations, but you were not a huge fan of One Battle. Is that right, Larry?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of boring. And I thought Benicio del Toro was better than everybody in the movie.
Yeah, well, I watched half.
Well, absolutely no one agrees with you there. I'm sure everyone loved Sean Penn in that movie,
Oh, I
even
should
if you didn't
also
like the
Yeah,
movie.
he was great at it too. Yeah.
Monarch, that's the one that I've been getting through with my son. It's great for a 9-year-old because it's got the whole backstory of King Kong and whatnot.
And Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell together, it's really cool that they were able to do that. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, great recommendations all, and great recommendations in the comments. As always, we can always count on our.
Someone's asking about Night Agent. I just started the new season of it. It's another ridiculous premise, but it is fun to watch. So I'm going to give that one a good recommendation too. And that one actually has some great demo stuff.
I like Night Agent as well. I've watched both seasons, and what is season 3 now, right? Just starting.
I don't know I'm watching the latest season. I'm not even sure what number it is.
It's good.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, popcorn action.
It's not exactly thought provoking, but it is entertaining.
It doesn't have to be.
Right. It doesn't have to be.
All right. Well, let's give a little bit of love for some of the recent events that we did, and I'm going to pop up our event screen here as well, since we have some upcoming ones coming in. And I should first shout out Florida Audio Expo. And I did see a comment from our friend Juan, who really wants us to make a Viva La Sound Revolution t-shirt. And Juan, I did want to show the picture you sent with Larry, but he vetoed it. So I will not be sharing the picture, but we've got some comp ideas for Viva La Sound Revolution. I love the energy you bring to Florida Audio Expo. He's the head of I guess it's the Suncoast Audiophile Society. Phenomenal group of people down in Florida.
That was really a fun vibe. Nick calls that what do you call it?
So we actually did like a sizzle video that's on our YouTube. You can check it out. I call it the happiest hi-fi show in the world.
It is happy. It's not a, sometimes you go to some of these rooms and they're a little bit of a buzzkill. They sort of suck the life out of you. But this one was just a much more fun vibe and normal people. And I really did love it.
Yeah.
And we had so many I would call this, I said to somebody on our team call today, I think maybe 1/5 of the people there were there for SVS. Or that's sure how it felt to me.
It was definitely a case where we were convinced we have to have a second room next year because, we were doing so many. We had a multi-channel system set up, and, we could switch to 2-channel, but people were having so much fun listening to the Atmos music and the tracks that Larry was picking out that I think next year we're going to have a 2-channel room. It was just too much standing room, and people walking by not getting.
You couldn't get in. You couldn't get in there. And Larry shout out to Larry. He did a phenomenal job. He was locked in that room for hours on end and did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I've had people ask, "Hey, have you seen what else of the show?" I was like, "Man, I haven't left this room for 3 days, guys."
That's right. I couldn't even get in the room. Gary and I were like the greeters, the hosts outside the room because we could never actually squeeze in there.
But that was fine too. We had a lot of great interactions. People were really happy to see us in person. A lot of you guys watch these videos. It made me happy. Yeah. And I said to Nick, we really got to make sure we get back in a rhythm of doing these because we got so much positive feedback. We basically had 4. I was saying this to the team earlier today. There's been 4 events. I'm the only one that's gone to all 4 of them, which was CES in Las Vegas, where we had a phenomenal time. And the Florida Audio Expo, Nick calls it the cheesiest audio expo.
Happiest.
And then we had this phenomenal event at Nebraska Furniture Mart in Dallas, the Colony, which was great, where we felt like a bit of a homecoming. So many of the SVS community. Dallas market is one of our best for SVS. It's just really well known there. And then ProSource. So it's just really been a very energizing few weeks.
But we're not slowing down. And as you can see, our next event, we're going to be visiting our friends in Canada at the Montreal Audiofest. Larry will be there with some of our partners at our Canadian distributor. That is March 20th through the 22nd that weekend. And Larry, we're going to have a pretty killer system. Am I right?
Yeah, we're doing a 524 or 724, I forget, but a massive system with Ultra Evolution speakers all around, 2 PV17 Ultra Revolutions. We're going to have an AWOL projector and large screen. It's going to be fun. And it's the first time we've ever really participated in this show in this way. So I'll be up there hanging out and running demos, and hopefully maybe some of you guys that are in or around Montreal come and hang out. I think it's maybe the best. I got to be careful. I really love AXPONA. I think AXPONA is awesome. We're doing that in a few weeks too. But I really
think it's
Montreal show is
pretty
phenomenal.
unarguably the best audio show in North America. It's actually, and it's easy to get in and out of Chicago, as I'm sure everyone knows. O'Hare is a very busy airport. If I were going to travel for an audio show, it would be, well, I mean, I have to say Munich, now going to be Vienna, is probably well worth once in a lifetime trip to do that. We get to do it every year. But if you're in North America, it's a pretty easy shot to Chicago and well worth it.
Yeah. And I will say with Montreal, if Florida's the happiest, I would say Montreal might be the most fun. They do a killer party. I think they're doing a 90s theme this year. A 90s theme.
Last year was an 80s party. Yeah.
They don't take themselves too seriously. They try to make it as fun as possible with some of the sideshow elements that they have going on there. So if you're looking to get out, and spend a weekend up in Canada, that's a great show to check out. And then
that's a really fun show, and so is Toronto. I love both those Canadian shows that we do.
Absolutely. And great audiophile hi-fi culture up there in Canada as well. And then you guys mentioned AXPONA, and that will be April 10th through the 12th. And the great thing about AXPONA this year, you're not going to be limited to the SVS rooms. As far as I can tell, there's 3 right now, probably more, that will also have SVS gear. The Jesheli room, if you know them, they do like DACs and things like that. They always have one of the most fun, like lit up, decorated, sort of just a party vibe. They're going to be showing some Ultra Evolution Titans. Volti Audio, great 2-channel.
This was really not sorry to interrupt you, but it was really cool coming into Florida Audio Expo and then walking down the hall, and like 3 rooms had SVS and we didn't even know it. I'm like, Nick, good job, you placed SVS in these rooms. Nick didn't know it, and I didn't know it. They bought SVS so they could show it in their rooms with their product. Pretty amazing.
It's coming.
Hey, Nick, make that graphic bigger.
I don't know.
Take us up. Everybody's saying make it bigger. They can't read it.
I don't think I can. No, that's my screen. All right.
Take us out real quick. Yeah. Or you guys can go to our website and you can see it under events. You'll see the listing there too.
Is doing much. Maybe just come back to us.
All right. So there you go. That's if you go to the blog section up here and you look at SVS events right in the top corner, you'll be able to see all these upcoming events. So AXPONA.
We have more coming. We're gonna be in Atlanta for the first time. We're gonna be in St. Louis for the first time, and we're gonna be. There's one I'm forgetting, right?
Yeah, those events are listed. Audio Advice in St. Louis. It's actually their newest store for audio advice. That'll be April 30th. Phoenix Home Systems in Atlanta. Our first event in Atlanta will be May 7th, and then we have a call with Stereoland. I actually don't know where they are, Gary, but we haven't created that invite yet.
Where?
They're in Minneapolis.
So we'll be coming back to Minneapolis, but we're going to continue.
We're in talks with someone with a dealer in Houston, so we're going into some new towns. Hope we can see you guys there.
Absolutely. So just check out the event page. You can RSVP, look out for tickets for those hi-fi shows as well, and get all the information you need to come see us in person. But before we get to a couple quick updates of some cool things we've had going on, we owe the good people a giveaway. And our first giveaway of the evening is a pair of Prime Wireless Pro powered bookshelf speakers. Just add your smartphone. You got a legit hi-fi system. And the winner of the Prime Wireless Pro speakers is Diego Giardina. Diego Giardina.
Yay, Diego.
Reach out, get your information, and we'll get those shipped out. So before we begin our lightning round, I did want to share 2 quick things that we've had going on that were just really exciting from us, because these kind of came out of left field. But it was, a cool opportunity for us to do some storytelling. And the first one I'll mention is there's a gentleman by the name of John Resin. He's a Grammy Award-winning sound engineer. And he actually had the good fortune of mixing the halftime show. And I'm going to pop up on screen just the little blog that we did. But Gary, talk a little bit about what this experience was and what we can make out of it.
I mean, we didn't know. We knew he bought SVS subwoofer, and then he was a sound engineer. I didn't realize how high up he is in mixing. He mixes TV shows. He mixes Dancing with the Stars. What was the other one? Was it The Voice?
Yeah, The Voice. Yep, he's done a lot
Dancing with the Stars and The Voice.
Yep.
And he mixed This Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance. And look, please, no comments about Bad Bunny. If you don't like him, you don't like him. It's fine. But
didn't pick the
it's just, we're not really talking about that. We're talking only about the fact that this top sound engineer picked SVS to mix Bad Bunny. And whether you like or don't like his music, you might check it out just because it sounds, even on YouTube, it just sounds awesome. It's just terrific. They did a great job. And considering he kind of goes the whole length of the football field, it must have been difficult to do that.
No, and if you read the interview, it's interesting because mixing for a live event like that, there is no second chance. This is not like something you go to production, you have multiple opportunities. Like, you're putting this mix together, you're reviewing it with the live sound engineers who are going to be managing it during the broadcast. But there is no second chance, and I think the pressure from that and sort of the different challenges that presents is really fascinating. So very cool that we got to be involved with that, and John's been a great supporter of SVS, and I think a potential guest for the happy hour. So we're in talks with that. He's got a very busy schedule, but hopefully within here the next couple of weeks we can get John on the broadcast.
Nick wanted to do a thing with him before and he's like, dude, I'm busy. I got a lot of work to do. It was like,
got a bit of a deadline.
It was like a Thursday before Super Bowl, and Nick is like, hey, can we do it?
Yeah. It's only
like, I got this day job, Nick.
It's only the most watched halftime show in the history of the world, but that's all right. We'll carve out some time. So the other one I wanted to talk about was SVS was chosen to be part of a cool event and long-term installation at Harvard University. It's called their Chalamet Sound Lab, and it's basically a facility they have set up for all of the people who major in different audio-related fields to be able to mix and master work. They bring live performers in, and essentially SVS was chosen to be a playback system within this school to allow these folks to hear, the clinical version from very high-end studio equipment, but then a more consumer-focused system that allows them to hear the music and the different pieces of art that they're creating on a consumer system that is truly hi-fi. And we did an event where basically we did original master tape recordings. We did a high-end vinyl turntable system with a VPI turntable, Bluetooth streaming, and then high-res streaming, and allowed these students to hear the difference, because most had never had sort of that Pepsi Challenge A/B test listening experience. And it was such a cool thing to see the sort of look on their faces, in terms of just registering like how the imaging was different from one track to the next. And it's something you can read a little bit more on our blog, but we just had such a fun time there, and it's now a permanent part of the Chalamet Sound Lab. So a cool opportunity for us to, again, get SVS out in the world and help people who are going to be shaping.
But it was kind of an honor to be chosen, I would say. I wouldn't underscore that. Like, it was really cool that they picked us. We were the only speaker there, I believe. Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
No, yeah, our speakers and subwoofers, and then they have another master system that has magnepans, which I think we can all agree is a completely different experience. As far as consumer audio goes, but they needed something, that was, very capable, and SVS was chosen. So cool thing to be a part of. And if you ever get a chance to go out there, they do some consumer events, listening events, and we'll be part of that.
And this is the people from Future Audiophile. They could have picked any brand they wanted, and people would have lined up to be there. So it was really, again, same sort of thing. It was just a great honor to be chosen. And kind of makes a statement about, how the audiophile world has embraced our speakers. I think Ultra Evolution has made a big difference.
I think that was a huge part of it. And, I think, I think you said it best. It just definitely left an impression on the people who, even were there, who have listened to these studio level systems that cost, 12 times, 15 times as much as our speakers. And they're like, I'm hearing things I've never heard through this studio master equipment. And I think that was one thing that really brought a lot of joy to my heart. Was like, okay, you're definitely doing something right. And these people are really enjoying it. So, just a cool opportunity. So are we ready for some lightning round?
I think we should do lightning round. This is the part that everybody likes the best.
Yeah, we don't want to get too deep into the weeds here. So again, thank you to everyone who submitted questions ahead of time. I'm actually seeing my email pop up now. People are submitting questions in real time via email. Just drop them in the comments, folks. So we'll be more likely to see them there. But first question via email came via Vernon, and he wants to know, what does the minimum speaker watts rating mean, and why do manufacturers publish this rating? And then he gives a little bit of insight on his experience with it. But the minimum power rating for speakers, what does it mean, and why is it worth publishing?
Well, I think this is a really important point because it kind of goes backwards from what people think. In other words, if it's a low number, then they think, oh, this is. Remember, I used to sell I used to work in retail in this job, and we always used to smirk at each other when somebody would ask, how many watts does this speaker have? Which, of course, passive full range speakers they don't have watts because they are passive. The amplifier has the watts. And so when the speaker is rated to a minimum power of 100 watts, that doesn't mean the speaker has that. That just means the recommended power to connect to the speaker is minimally 100 watts. And it's not a statement of how loud the speaker will play. What it does say, when manufacturers quote that number, is they're saying, hey, if you want the speakers to play as loud as you want, then we would recommend an amplifier that's 100 watts or more. And by the way, the other thing to say, and then Ed, I'll pass it to you because I know you, unless you just want to riff off of what I'm saying. The other thing is what blows speakers, everyone should know this, what blows speakers is not too much power in an amplifier. What almost always blows speakers is not enough power, because amplifiers being overdriven so that your speakers will play loud, they distort, and that's what blows speakers. So having plenty of power is never a bad thing. Ed, did you want to comment on this?
No, I agree completely. An underpowered amplifier, the term we use is clipping, where it square waves the signal, and that's very hard on speakers. It can blow the tweeter very quickly. We always recommend a range of amplifier power for each of our loudspeaker models, and that really just says this range of amplifiers will provide you with good results in most applications. Obviously, if it's a small intimate setting, you can get away with a lower power amplifier and still have good results. If it's a really large room and you want to play at loud levels, then you should migrate towards the other end of the spectrum and get a more powerful amplifier. But the more powerful amplifier will not be driven into clipping or distortion at louder levels, and that will in turn allow the speakers to remain healthy and not blow tweeters. So always a good idea to get more power if you're looking at a higher playback level in a larger room. You'll be rewarded with great dynamics and clean sound.
I have a quick one here. Alex N asked, does SVS have a list of recommended home theater installer calibrators by state? We do. If you go to our site, you'll see a link right in the top of it that is a dealer locator. Put in your zip code, you'll be able to find the closest SVS installer to you. And then, of course, you can always reach out to our team, and Ed will do a video consultation or a phone consultation if you have specific questions or anything that we can help with in that way if there's not an installer close by towards you.
Yeah, I just had a couple of them today, Nick, and it's fun. It's like being in that customer's environment, looking at their system, their application, the room, where the speakers are mounted, where the subwoofer is located, the setup screens on their AV processor. It's as good as being there, really, and it helps us optimize that particular system and application.
All right, we got a great question here from Greg, and Larry, I want you to answer this one because I feel like this is something that you try to do all the time. He wants to know, what does it mean to pressurize a room when you're talking about a subwoofer?
Well, that means it's kind of fun. We enjoy doing it at events, but the easiest way to put it is where you're not hearing the bass, you're feeling it throughout the room. And when you get the pressurization in the room, you kind of feel it in your ears and feel it through your body. So it's that moment where if you like that sort of thing or think it's funny, you're going to be laughing and be like, holy crap, this is awesome. And if you hate it, it's not going to be for you. But we do that with a few demos. Like the newest one is Tron Ares, the Ninja Turtles demo. Sinners does it a few times too. Let's see, the old Tron Legacy. There's quite a few of them that we have that will pressurize a room, but it's basically just taking your space and filling it.
That Formula One that you
did,
Larry, does a great job with that too.
Which one?
Formula One.
Yeah,
the F1 movie. Yeah, that one has some. It's a fun demo.
It excites your nerve endings. It's not just hearing; it's definitely that sense of like just this sort of getting punched in the
It's
chest.
like-
I will.
Punch.
I don't want. We don't do this as an infomercial for SVS. This is about celebrating all of our, not just the four of us, but all of you, love of great sound in our living space and love of the content that we enjoy the sound in. But I will say that we take pride at SVS that our subwoofers basically have technology in the DSP power, in the power supply, in the amplifier and driver ecosystem to take control of the room. The room doesn't control our subwoofers. Our subwoofers take control of the room and deliver the content the way that the director, the producer, the artist intended. That is part of the SVS secret sauce, I guess. And I think every single one of our subwoofers do that, from the starting entry level 1000 Pro series up to the 17 Ultra Revolution series.
Well, we have another.
Sorry for the infomercial piece, but
That's all
it is
right.
something
Nick,
to
real quick, somebody was asking what scene we do in Aries. I want to say it's chapter 7. It's where they do the light cycle chase through the city and when they split the police car.
But that whole movie is kind of a demo, right, Larry? I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's not a great film. It's fun. But
3D printer scene, right? Isn't that where it's
it's better than Sinners, I think. But I'm kidding. That's just a joke.
All right, we had another subwoofer question. Robert C. and Ed, this one feels perfect for you. Why are the ports on SVS subwoofers placed on the front? Several other manufacturers have them on the rear. They have like vents. Why front ported?
Well, if you install the subwoofer up front behind a false wall or a proscenium, then it allows the woofer and the ports to fire into the room, and rear or down firing ports don't allow that. So that was a change we made quite some time ago to accommodate a lot of the custom integration, and CI partners would reach out to us and say, hey, can I put this sub behind a wall and just leave an opening for it? I've got this big front stage. Sure. And that's the primary reason why.
And these are tuned ports, to go to the second part of your question. So the first part of your question is, it's just way better to have all the output coming from one part of the subwoofer, which is the front. And then you can do whatever you want. You can lean it against the wall. You can stick it in, as Ed says, stick it in a cabinet. Things you would not be able to do if it was emanating air and sound from different parts of it, the front, the back, the bottom. So it's just an improvement. But why wouldn't you? Or what else about that? Like some companies do like a narrow vent, and some, and especially the downfiring ones, they do that. Why? Well, because that's cheaper. Because we have a very carefully tuned port tube that is a specific length relative to its diameter, and all these things, just so that the subwoofer will deliver accurate bass, not just lots of it, and not just low frequencies with no control. You get to have your cake and eat it too with our ported subwoofers. They're accurate, they're musical, and they deliver that accurate musical sound at whatever volume and at deep low frequencies.
So we have a speaker question here. Interesting. Christy wants to know. They want to know if 3 center channels would work for the front stage. Is that a setup we see ever? And would that work?
Well,
it would work.
At least
our center channels are not officially LCRs. That's what she's asking. Christy, I assume, is female. She's asking, would these be LCRs? They're not officially LCRs, but they could work as that.
And I've actually seen this maybe 5 times a year, Nick. It comes up to answer your question. And it's not unheard of. And you do have, a perfect match, left, center, and right, exactly the same speaker.
It'd certainly be timbre match since they're the same speaker.
Yep. There's some benefit to that. We also see 3 towers up front, especially if you're running an acoustically transparent screen with front projection. Not uncommon to have the tower used as a center channel. So that sort of flips that on its head. But there's nothing inherently wrong with it if the layout and the form factor of 3 centers works better than a conventional setup.
And just to be clear, you would never want to put the center channel vertically like that.
No.
The way the drivers are aligned, they're meant to be horizontal. So
Right.
you wouldn't want to do that if you were going to choose that option. I got one I can answer. I love these. Chavallo wants to know, can he mount the Ultra Evolution elevations on the walls as left-right surrounds? And the answer is absolutely. The bracket, the nature of the bracket is such that you don't have to have them, down firing on a ceiling or on a sidewall. You can kind of see it over there. You can actually put them horizontally as well if you align the bracket a certain way, so they can actually be at ear level, firing directly into the room via two sidewalls. So absolutely, they can be used as rear or side surrounds, depending on the nature of the room and how you want to mount them. But absolutely, Chavallo, go right ahead.
They are my side surrounds, just for the record, because because in that room where my main home theater is, nothing else would work.
Well, you have one mounted to like a pillar, essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's got like a pillar. Rather than put a stand right next to it, like just mount it right to the pillar.
And I actually broke the rule, because the better speaker, which Ultra Evolution Bookshelf, are my back surround speakers, which normally you would. I kind of turn and you might say, well, that's so home theater technologies assume you have a life and assume that you can't perfectly do everything you want to do in the room. If you hear my home theater, I think you'll be impressed.
All right.
Nick, I just wanted to add, it's not uncommon for our customers to purchase multiple, prime elevations or Ultra Evolution elevations, and they'll buy them for the surround back, overhead height channels. Sometimes they'll buy 8 at the same time and a perfect timbre matching, exactly the same speaker. It's easy to mount on the wall, the rear wall, the ceiling. On the ceiling, you can even rotate them so they're all sort of pointing at the main listening position. So it's a very versatile, right? Exactly like that.
Almost, Nick. Yeah.
It's a very versatile. Yeah, see, you got exactly what I was talking about. It's a versatile speaker. It works well for all channels, but really hard to beat for surround back and heights.
All right, 2 quick hitters also that I can answer. Michael S. wants to know, have we discontinued the 3000 micro, and is there a Revolution micro on the horizon? Stay tuned for AXPONA and slightly after, but I don't think we've made any big secret about this. Of all the 3000 Revolution subwoofers, from what I've experienced, the micro version has seen the biggest gains, and that's saying a lot, since the PB and SB are
I think, have we not officially announced it? Is that true?
Yeah, it's not shipping until after, like around AXPONA or slightly after. So we like to keep our powder slightly dry and then have something big to talk about at AXPONA. So, but it's no secret, it's coming. And along the 3000 conversation, Larry wants to know, whatever happened to the in-wall sub? We haven't heard much about them. Well, they're selling really, really well. They're going into home theaters all over the country. I think it's just one of those things where they're being installed professionally. We don't sell them direct via the SVS site. So maybe they don't get as much love, but they're there. They're available.
Well, they get lots of love. I mean, you should hear the feedback I got when I was at ProSource, which is a bunch of integrators, as Larry can tell you, lots and lots of integrators, and they love the in-wall sub. And some of them, they have an existing business, they have existing things they always do, and they're like, oh, now I have to be SVS because I don't have it. There's nothing like it in what I do. Nothing like that 3000 in-wall.
Yeah, I was at the ProSource headquarters today, and we've got a room there with a 522 system, and I've set up a switching setup where we've got 2 SB17 Ultra Revolutions or a pair of the 3000 in-wall subs that we've calibrated where you can toggle between them. So it's a pretty cool setup.
All right, let's do a giveaway. We are due to give away an SB1000 Pro subwoofer, and the person winning that subwoofer tonight is one Adam Nelson. Adam Nelson, congratulations.
Nice.
Vince will get your info,
Congrats.
and we'll get that SB1000 Pro out to you. All right, let's get another question from the emails from earlier. This one comes from Chris R., and he or she wants to know, is there any loss of sound quality when using the SVS SoundPath wireless audio adapter, and does it require line of sight, and does it require its own power source? So Ed, maybe this one's one for you. There's a 3-parter there.
There's no loss of fidelity. It's a full range wireless audio transmitter. Signal to noise ratio is great. Distortion levels are low. there is a little bit of latency involved, which is a fancy term for delay. Any wireless transmitter has that. So you want to rerun your AV setup, your auto setup in your AV processor, and that will automatically compensate for the slight delay and make sure everything's time aligned afterwards.
And if I've never heard the latency, just for the record, I've never heard it.
Yeah,
and I always comment on things that I do hear. That's not a thing I hear.
Oh, it's very
low latency. It's very hard to tell. If I can't tell, it's probably unlikely you can tell. Oh, and they asked, is it line of sight? It's not line of sight. And lots of things can be blocking it, and it'll still work.
Yeah,
in fact,
like a brick wall,
Ed knows this. I actually, for a while, was running an SP3000 in my living room, and the emitter for the wireless, the SVS SoundPath wireless audio adapter was in the basement, so it was actually going through a floor, and it worked great.
So they also asked about power supply. Is it chargeable from the USB on the back of an SVS subwoofer, or do you have to have it plugged into?
Yeah, that's a great point. I forgot that part of the question. So yeah, there's a USB port on all SVS subwoofers, and so you just use that to power the receiver. The emitter, if you don't have a USB port on the back of your receiver that you could use, you can always, we do supply an AC adapter.
And I saw somebody commenting about some signal disruption. So we do offer two different models. So there's the regular wireless adapter, and there's a SoundPath tri-band as well. So if you're somebody like me that has a heavily networked home that has lots of lights and security and stuff like that, you may want to go to the tri-band because it will use additional wireless signals that are not being used by those devices in your home.
If you have a really congested, 2.4 gigahertz is what everybody's running everything on in their home, and if that environment is very congested with 2.4, that can cause some interference, and tri-band will automatically hop to a different frequency and then to maintain a very a perfect connection. So that is a great solution for if you're really heavy 2.4 use in the house.
All right, we have a question about center channels. Jim wants to know, is there a benefit to isolating or decoupling other speakers even if they aren't sitting on the floor, such as a center channel that's on top of a wooden entertainment center? And just for context, we have our SoundPath subwoofer isolation system that essentially removes your subwoofer from the floor, so you don't get the vibration, you don't get the energy being injected into the floors and walls. Cleaner bass, tighter bass without disturbing the neighbors as much. Benefits to doing that with a center channel speaker on like a wooden console.
I mean, the center channel is not a subwoofer, so it's not creating a massive amount of mechanical energy and tactile energy. So I'm not really seeing a huge benefit.
I will take a middle ground here. I don't think you need to have the SoundPath subwoofer isolation system under, and I know that for most people's situations, it's already a big center channel. So to stick those isolation feet underneath it would be probably difficult for most people. But what I do is I do get it a little bit off the wood or the whatever my I don't even know what it's made out of, whatever my cabinet or the thing that TV rests on is made out of. And the way I do that is I just use some sticky tack just to get it off the thing by like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, just enough to just disconnect it from the thing it's on. But Ed's right, it's not going to vibrate. The other trick, which we always tell people, but we haven't recently, is bring it out to the very edge.
Yep.
So that you're not reflecting off of the cabinet. Can you show it? Is there a way to show that?
Yeah, it's right behind me. You can see it's pushed all the way flush to the edge of my beady eye.
As far out as you can, where it doesn't look too ridiculous. So that because that way you will not have diffraction off of your cabinet.
Yeah, and I believe we provide those little 3M silicone stickers that you can put underneath it. That actually will give you some.
Yeah, that'll work. That's all you need.
And
just something to get it off the cabinet.
And it benefits because they don't scratch either.
Right. Oh yeah, you'd scratch it up big time if you didn't use those. We do provide the little sticky feet, and if anybody cups their hands over their mouth, they'll know what the center channel sounds like when it's pushed deep into the entertainment center.
That's good. I like what you just did there.
That's what Gary's trying to.
That's what I'm trying to say.
We call it baffle diffraction or boundary diffraction. It's just bouncing around inside of the entertainment center, and you want to pull it as far forward as you can.
Bring it as far forward as you can, so it's not inside the cabinet.
Right.
So this one's a complete softball, and Larry, I just teed it up for you. Jim wants to know if the human ears can only hear down to 20 hertz. Why build a subwoofer that goes lower than that?
Man, you want to feel that stuff too.
Thank you.
I almost
Thank
said
you
a
for
bad
that
word.
question. I know, right?
Yeah, there's nothing more fun in some of our demo rooms than hitting that brown note.
Oh yeah,
and it's really fun to see everybody's face. But when you go to a concert, when you go to a movie, when you go to a sporting event, and the system is on or something roars. I mean, look at like the Seattle Seahawks set off the Richter scale. You have that intensity, that low frequency bass, and it just brings more fun to the experience. And there's sound that is created specifically for feeling it. Like you go to an EDM show or a concert, you get that experience, you feel it in the floor. So it's
and also, I mean, in a home theater, you're watching a movie like these movies that Larry loves are very bang 'em up kind of movies, and part of the way you surrender, and some of them are so nonsensical in terms of their premise, you need to be able to surrender yourself to it. And the way you do that is great sound coming from all around you and even above you, low frequencies that are exciting, but then when it's low frequencies you can't even hear, but you can feel it. That's one more step of how convincing and immersive it is.
Another good example is if anyone's ever been in a church with a real pipe organ with a 32-foot stop, that's 16 hertz. And when the organist hits that 32-foot stop, you really perceive it as like a pressure or a thickness in the air. You can't really hear the 16 hertz note, but you can certainly perceive it. There's no question that these infrasonic frequencies are perceivable. We do react to them, and they do add solidity, foundation, and thickness, and they're present in some of these soundtracks. And it's just, like Gary said, it's just another dimension of realism that would otherwise be missing if your subwoofer did not go that deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
The goal is to let yourself, you guys, anyone who's ever watched any of our videos in the stores, the consumer events, the goal is to let yourself believe that you are right there, and what you are hearing and seeing is really happening. You don't really believe that, you're not insane, but you let yourself feel that. And it's a wonderful escape, especially after a hard day of working or whatever stressed out thing you do all day long. It's a wonderful escape to be able to do that.
Really
this is
quick,
why Larry, when he's on the road, that's the first thing he does is he finds a movie theater where he can have a after he's worked hard training people all over whatever market he's in, he goes to a movie and surrenders himself to that experience, right, Larry?
Yeah, I deliberately chose this hotel because there's a really nice AMC up the street, and I did a double feature yesterday. Well, I was going to see Elvis, but didn't start at the same time. But I'm probably going to a movie after this.
There you go. And I'll just say, the sound engineer we had on last year, Matt Yoakum, had said with horror movies specifically, like it's scientifically proven, they can create a sense of dread. Like you can create emotional responses by having these low frequencies that you cannot hear. So if you're a horror movie junkie, invest in a good subwoofer and you'll be even more scared.
That's why we play question. Annabelle. Yeah.
I think we got time for a couple more. Brian wants to know, how do you determine the best placement for dual subwoofers if you have every option available to you in a room?
I think Ed should answer that, but let me just say one thing, and then I'll pass it to Ed. I'll be as brief as I can be. Why you have dual subwoofers is not because you need more horsepower. Why dual subwoofers is a great thing, and why we say, hey, take your budget, cut it in half, and get two. It's not for us to double the money that you spend. I promise. It's take your budget, cut it in half, and get two, especially if the room is challenged, because by having dual subwoofers, you reduce the room. placement matters, but it matters way less when there's two. And you literally reduce 80% of the potential room anomalies. And room anomalies are, if you walk around the room, part of the room, everything sounds correct and balanced. And then you walk to another part of the room, and all of a sudden, where'd the bass go? And that's because of phase cancellation, where the low frequency waves are coming to your ear direct from the subwoofer and then bouncing off walls and coming slightly delayed, and they cancel each other out. And then the other one is standing waves, where you go to another part of the room and you get bowled over by too much bass. Those are all room anomalies, and 80% of them go away when you have two subwoofers. Ed, go ahead, finish. Make me sound smart now.
Well, that was very smart. The standing wave pattern in the room from subwoofer number 1 is not the same as it is from subwoofer number 2. And the idea here is we want those two standing wave patterns to sort of, interlace and provide smoother bass wherever you are in the room. And it's a marked improvement over one subwoofer in terms of smoothness as you're walking around the room. Wow, that sounds way more even than it did before. There's less peaky spots, there's less cancellation spots. And so that's really the whole idea behind it. We can help you with both placement of the individual subwoofers, and more importantly, we call it phasing and time alignment. There is a correct way to phase the two subwoofers so they're complementing each other and delivering optimized results. And if that's not done properly, you're not going to get the most benefit out of the duals. So definitely reach out to our team and we'll assist you with phasing and time alignment.
Yeah. And to that point, we see a ton of questions, different topic, about, what speaker is right for my size room, what subwoofer is right for my size room. And there's quite a few variables. So it's best to get a personal recommendation from one of our support team members, send some pictures, they can do the video thing. It's very hard for us to be able to say, I have a 20
Well,
by
it's also,
30,
what do you want to accomplish? I mean, there's the person's own, what they want to accomplish. There's other voting partners in the household that what they want to accomplish. And what you want to see visually, because more often than not, there's never a too large situation sonically. There's only a too large situation visually,
right,
which we get. We can help you with that.
And that's one of our primary questions we ask, along with the performance needs and the rest of the system
and your budget, of course,
and your budget, but is, I call them lifestyle considerations: the size, the visual impact, the amount of floor space, integration with the existing decor. Those things matter. They matter a lot. And so when we get the feedback from you, that helps drive the correct recommendation for the speaker or subwoofer for your unique application in your room and decor.
Quick question here. I think this might be the last one. Somebody wants to know, what is the right distance to place the Prime Wireless Pro apart from each other? And I think it more depends on where you're sitting. Like, how far are you away from the speakers? Because is the goal?
Mine are this far
No,
apart.
but that's a great question for anyone.
Mine are this far apart.
Yeah, because I can lean forward and touch mine.
Here's the thing. That's one I would like to answer. I'll do it as briefly as I can. You always want to have a sense of stereo, meaning one left, one right, and not everything coming from one place. So that's why you separate the speakers. But if you separate them too much, then they stop talking to each other or working with each other. And so they don't necessarily create what you want, which is a sound stage, meaning there's this specific points in space where the sound is coming from, where the musicians are, or the characters are in the movie, or the action is in the movie. And if they're too far apart, they stop creating that sound stage. So a usual rule of thumb is some form of an equilateral triangle, where you are one point in the triangle and the other 2 points are the speakers. And that the likelihood of them creating a believable, convincing sound stage is very high. If they're too far apart, you'll lose the sound stage. If they're too close together, you'll lose that sense of stereo separation, which is part of the fun of being an audiophile.
Mine are however far apart a 43-inch TV is, because that's what I use on my desk. And they're whatever that width of that TV is, they're right there, and everything is just front and center, right in front of me. Whether we're doing a Zoom meeting or I'm watching a movie or listening to music, they're perfect for that. And I just use a micro with it, and it's fantastic.
All right. Well, before we get to the next giveaway, I'm happy to announce we're going to be, as of right now, coming back with another Audiophile Happy Hour in 2 weeks. That'll be March 26th, Thursday, same time, 6 to 7 p.m. So we'll put out all the announcements there. I see a ton of great questions we were not able to get to. But again, that's what Ed's team is there for. So all these questions about room recommendations or what speaker is best for this scenario, we're here and we're quick and we get those answers out to you. So, by all means, reach out to the team. And Ed, I know you love taking on a challenge, so keep sending them through. We have some events that we'll talk through. We'll have some product updates coming soon as well. But our final giveaway of the evening is our Ultra Evolution Nano bookshelf speakers, and the winner of that pair of speakers is Nicholas Antonio. Congratulations, Mr. Antonio. Got some sweet new bookshelf speakers coming your way.
Congratulations, Nicholas.
Congratulations.
Thank you for all the energy today.
It's been
amazing
fun.
Comments, amazing.
Thanks for
everything.
everyone's great. I agree, Nick. The comments were really fun this time. Good comments. I was watching them as they were coming in. Really fun. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Lively crowd, and I saw some people asking about doing something special for the 100th. We still got a few episodes to go, but Gary, we're gonna have to do a little. Put our heads
and
together.
Nick's idea of something special, just for everyone to know, is give away lots of stuff. So it's
Who's not gonna
gonna
love
cost
that?
me, but maybe I'll be
No.
open to it.
Yeah, maybe we'll. Yeah, I can come up with some other ideas too, but I don't think anyone would be opposed to that. So thanks all for tuning in. Happy listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right, guys.